Hey, what's up, people? This is Ike Love. I'm creator and author of the blog, The Viable Alternative, is an inspirational blog where, I share the wisdom and insights gained along my path to becoming a greater, stronger version of myself. If you want to read more about the blog, you can click under the window where it says description, and you'll see a link for www.theviablealternative.com. So, first off, for those of you in the New York City area, happy snow day. I know a lot of people got a day off today. I did myself, and it was a good day to relax because I haven't really had a day like this in a long time. Excuse me. But I want to make an announcement. I'm launching my own underwear line. I was alluding to this last week. I said I had some news to share. I didn't want to share in my last video, but it was connected to the video I did, the exercise I shared in the video about, unique things about myself to connect to my essence. I'll get a little bit to that later. But no, so people don't know I'm an underwear model, and you can see my images. I'm an underwear model. And among other things I do, that's what I do, underwear model. It's been my dream for a number of years to get my own ad campaign with a major underwear line that we've seen on billboards around the city or country or whatever. That's been my dream. Call it the Leo in me, whatever, but and I was inspired by the first male supermodel, Tyson Beckford. I met him when I was like 20, I think I was 21 years old, and he gave me he gave me some encouraging advice. And, ever since then, that was my dream to be an ad campaign model like him. So, but over the years of my path, I've faced a lot of rejection in that area, and, and I'm going to get into that a little later. But along this journey, several people had suggested to me that I start my own underwear line, from a mentor of mine who has his own lifestyle brand encompassing fragrances and accessories and clothing and stuff like that, to some photographers, to I know the head wardrobe this side, former head wardrobe stylist at BET and content provider. He also, a number of people suggested I do my underwear line, but frankly, I completely just refused. I completely refused to do it because, frankly speaking, I've seen what goes into running any type of clothing line, and I just saw it was too much work. Not that I'm afraid of hard work, but it's just this area was something I was interested enough to go and put in that work towards. I've been in a part of a number of fashion shows, and I've seen what designers have to go through, and also hearing a little bit about the business, and also just the fact of just the work of trying to differentiate yourself. This is something I just didn't want to put effort towards. But interestingly enough, a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, I was having cell phone issues, and I was walking to a cell phone store to get my cell phone repaired. Now, as I was walking, I had this stroke of inspiration. Basically, the name of what to call my underwear line, my underwear line that I refused to do, the name dropped into my spirit, and I was just like, wow, that's interesting. But it was inspiring, I was like, wow, And so after letting it marinate for a couple of minutes, I texted a mentor of mine, and I said to him, if I ever had an underwear line, this is what I would call it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not giving you the name. I'm going to explain to you also why I'm not giving the name, but anyway. And, I let it marinate some more. And then about a couple hours later, I was like, you know what, man? I'm starting my own underwear line. So I called him up on the phone, and we talked, and he suggested, steps to proceed and getting it started. Now, this happened. This was, again, like I said, a stroke of inspiration that just basically came upon my heart. I was divinely inspired. And had I actually gone and tried to rationalize it and figure out what to do, I probably would not want to do it. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to listen to my brain and worry about the ifs, ands, and buts. I'm just going to follow my heart and allow myself to be guided towards this step by step. Whatever vision that God has for me through this idea, I'm just going to open my heart and allow myself to be a vessel or conduit of Him expressing His vision through me. So the first thing, talk to a mentor, he told me to go now and look online and look at different images of men's underwear and, take images that I like, for further inspiration of what I want to do to create my own line. So I went and Googled men's underwear or men's boxer briefs, saw a number of images I liked, and I saved them. And then also I went to Macy's, the Macy's on 34th Street, Herald Square, which has a huge underwear section in the basement area. And I actually have gone there over the years for inspiration. You know, they have different ad campaigns going on there with the models, and also they have monitors showing behind the scene footage of photo shoots, and also just video of underwear commercials and stuff like that. So you know, I've gone there before, but this time I went there to take pictures with my phone, my cell phone, about different underwear that I liked, and I also took pictures of the packaging. Yeah, so like, yeah, I took pictures of the packaging that I liked, and you know, for further inspiration of what I may want to do when I come up with packaging and just like the whole eventual design of the underwear. Then what I also did was I went to a local paint store by me, because paint stores, they have the different like color cards of the different nuances, the different colors, and so I went there and collected a couple so that I can now think about what colors I wanted to use for the piece of the first piece of underwear I wanted to do, right? So, you know, in the meantime, I was in continued contact with my mentor, and so, you know, I went into his place to brace him a little bit. And last week I was talking on the phone, and he gave me an exercise, and it was an exercise I shared with you last week. He said to me to get a pen and paper and write down at least 15 things about myself. You know, my likes, you know, my quirks, my idiosyncrasies, just things about me, my gifts, strengths, whatever. He said to write them down. And he said, what I'm going to get from that exercise is this. First off, he said, a product is a product is a product for the most part, you know. But what differentiates your product from the other person? And that is the fantasy you're selling through that product. When people buy a product, they're buying into the fantasy, which is what you can call your brand. The fantasy, the feeling they get from it, the feeling that's communicated to the message you give across through your marketing of the brand. So he said, when I write down this list, there are going to be pieces of myself I'm going to take. I'm going to now actually input that into the brand, you know. So for instance, now, like I talked about repeatedly, I love the color gray. I just like looking at it. It soothes me. So that's one of the aspects I want to put at, you know, colors of silver, gray, slate, whatever, you know, designing underwear. The next thing I said also is I love luxury. I like inspiring people. I'm inspired by spirituality, inspired by deep conversation. And so each of these components, you know, I can now take into creating my own brand, you know, creating a brand of luxury, communicating luxury, communicating aspiration, inspiring people, things like that. And so he said, this is now, again, these are going to form the components of what I'm going to create for a brand, and this is going to separate mine from the next underwear on the shelf or on the internet or whatever, you know. So after that, now, after talking, and again, this is the exercise I did. It was also an interesting exercise because it did actually get cut and help me get more in touch with my own unique core essence of, like, you know, because I connected to myself in a sensual level. And yeah, so, you know, it was a very enriching exercise. The next thing now, the next step of the process going through now was coming up with a seamstress, someone who's going to now take these ideas and actually come up with the first prototype design for a pair of underwear. And in talking with my mentor, you know, there was someone that we both know, very good guy. He's been a great supporter of me in the past. He has his own fashion line. He's Jersey City based. His underwear, I don't know if he wants me to say his name, so I'm just going to say his fashion line, Vidagier. And Vidagier, which is a great women's clothing line. I first saw him several years back at this fashion show they do in the summer in Harlem, in the Far West Side, called Fashion on the Hudson. And I saw his stuff there. I met him there, connected with him there. And he's always been very supportive of my brand and the images I put across. And so I hit him up, and we were supposed to meet at his job today, and I was actually going to take my cell phone and actually do a video meeting him at this job to now powwow about, like, you know, come and like chop it up about this my, you know, underwear line. But you know what happened, it had to be postponed because his job was closed due to this farce of snow that people were had their panties up in a bunch of, which I knew was hype because, you know, the media likes to scare people, but whatever, I'm going off on a tangent. But anyway, so I couldn't meet with him today, but I talked with him in length over the phone. And you know, what had happened, he gave me some more insight because he asked me more questions about like the underwear line, and asking about like what message I want to give across to the buyer. He also asked me about the story behind it, like why am I creating it? What's the story behind it? And I explained to him this, which I'm explaining to you, is that over the years, yeah, I've never yet been able to achieve my dream of getting an underwear campaign. And also, I've never really I did one underwear campaign with my mentor, the Winners underwear campaign back in 2011 for his underwear line. But, in terms of the big fish, I've not gotten any type of approval or acceptance from them. And, nothing, never really scored any big thing. And so, one of my core driving factors is I'm going to create my own opportunity for myself. If you're not giving me the opportunity to model in your underwear line, I'm going to create my own underwear line, make myself the ad campaign model, make myself, create like videos, commercials with me in it, create posters, ad campaign posters with me in it, and basically create my own. The end of the videos for the Viable Alternative, it says by Gary Weissman, sometimes you have to create what you want to be a part of. And in life and everything like that, you can't sit around waiting for other people to give you the permission to do, be, or have whatever you want to have. You have to give yourself the permission. I've explained that before. And so, therefore, instead of sitting here complaining and getting bitter at the people in the modeling industry for not letting me in the door, I'm going to create my own door and let myself in, I'm going to create my own kingdom, create my own castle for myself, And that's a story I'm imputing to you people who, the message I'm getting through my underwear line is that you do not have to wait for other people to give you permission or the right to do something. You can give yourself the permission. You can create your own. You can build your own kingdom, your own castle. And I get an argument with a lot of African Americans about this because, the whole complaint about this country is the racism. It's true. The country is racist, And people are killing themselves trying to get into the corporate structure and everything like that. You get hired for a job and complain about all the racism in there. And why deal with people who don't like you, don't want to let you into their house? Screw all that. Build your own house. It may be modest and it may not be big at their house, but you know what? It's yours. So build your own. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying through this line is that you do not have to wait for other people to give you an opportunity. Give yourself the opportunity. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving myself the opportunity to have and be whatever I want. Why sit back and wait for other people to give me a life, or to give me a life that I want to live when I can create that for myself? So, I'm creating my own vision through this underwear line. I'm putting my own imprint into this world. And I remember a conversation I had with an Australian photographer a couple of years ago. I met him through Instagram, and he liked my look and I liked his photography. And I noticed he had shot with an underwear line. And I asked him, I said, yo, you have proximity to these people. Hook me up. Hook me up with the contract. Let me talk to the contract. And the guy basically said, well, they're not really into your look. They're really into the whole European, Procter & Gamble look. And, I'm like, oh, well. And he's like, yeah, it's messed up, or blah, blah, blah. You give an opportunity. And I was like, no, it's not messed up. They have their own vision for themselves. I'm not going to get angry at them for using, not wanting me in there because I don't fit their vision. I mean, that's fine. It's okay. There's nothing to be angry about, If I come out underlying line, I'm going to have my own vision for my own self. And so therefore, and I screw anybody else who's going to tell me what to do with my own vision. And I felt the same way about them. Let them have their own vision. Let anybody else in the industry have their own vision. I'm going to create my own vision for my own self and empower myself to go, be, do, and have whatever I want. So that's what I hope I get to you. And so he said to me, that's good. You have a story, because people, when they buy a product, when they buy into a service, they're buying into the story behind the service. That's the inspiration that people, that's how people connect to whatever they want to buy or purchase. It's the story behind it, because they may relate to it in their own life, or they may be inspired by it and use it to create changes in their own specific life. So that's what he said. And so then we also talked about designs and cuts, and what else did we talk about? Through that, I explained to him that exercise where 15 things about myself. So he says, oh, I was going to ask you all this. You're halfway there, And so he also told me to come up with a 5-year plan, not set in stone, but just start thinking towards that, then, bigger, broader picture and everything like that. And, I'm supposed to meet with them next week, and we're going to go over now some sketches and everything like that. So the ball is rolling. And I'm just here sharing this with you just sharing with you what goes into a creative process behind a certain idea. Now, I'm not sharing the name because unfortunately in this industry, I do have some haters. I learned that in my last event I did called Expressions of Divinity, where the premise of that event was I was body painted with a female model, and the purpose of the event was to was expression of divinity. But I wanted people to take the same awe and inspiration they have of external figures of divinity and instead look within and be inspired by their own divinity. That was the premise of the event. And through that event, I found out the true character of a lot of people, or some people, because in life, nice tear now. But in life, you're gonna find the character of people in two instances, true character of people in two instances. When you're at your lowest point, and also when you're coming up the up and up. Because in the lowest point, you're gonna see who really has your back. And when you're coming up on the up and up, you're gonna find that people who had your back are now becoming resentful towards you because they resent the fact now you're surpassing them. And or just people in general who are jealous of your success because they want what you have. And so through that event now, I saw the character of people who were supposed to work with me at the event. I just started acting really funny styles when we came up to the point of them now, me trying to reach out to them so that we could come together and I could tell them what I needed through the event. People started getting really weird. So now I said, okay, I'm going to be very careful about revealing and telling people what the name of this underwear line is until I have everything unprotected and everything, because there are people out there who are going to try and sabotage me. And I caution you through my experiences, be careful about who you share ideas with. Definitely you have a close-knit circle of friends and family who want to see you successful, who are encouraging towards you. Definitely feel free to bounce ideas off of them, but do not tell everybody and your uncle, because a lot of people do not want to see you go forward and be successful. A lot of people do not want to see you successful, so they're going to try and sabotage you anyway, because crabs in the barrel mentality, which is a damn shame. Because you think and you look at someone going up, you be inspired by them coming up and use that inspiration to turn into yourself and create inspiration for yourself. But frankly speaking, the world is not just going to dry up out there, and so that's why I'm not sharing the name. So anyway, I hope all this helps. So I encourage you to create your own. Stop waiting for other people to let you in. Stop looking for the gatekeepers to let you in or convince them to let you in. And you know what? Create your own structure with your own gate that you let yourself into. Give yourself the right to be successful. Appoint your own self the right to be successful. I learned that again at 20 years old when I was bitter at the world because they weren't approving of me to go out and be a successful woman, because from a young age I was told I was a loser and it was not attractive and ugly and blah blah blah. And so now, instead of and I had other friends who were approved of by society, but I wasn't getting that approved. I was very bitter and very angry. And at 20 years old, a light bulb went off in my head. I realized I have my own unique gifts and resources I can use to have my own unique success, and I can give my own self the right to be successful. When I did that, when I signed out, I gave my own self to my own approval, my life changed to a point that it shot me. And therefore, I learned through that experience that, you don't have to wait for other people to give you the right or permission to be successful. And if they're not letting you into a structure, you build your own structure. And in fact, you're better off, because if I got an underwear contract with somebody, I would have been beholden to them and their rules and everything like that. But now, man, I'm my own boss and I can't fire myself, So a lot of success that you see out there, people are an illusion because someone has control of it and they can pull the rug right from under them. And you don't want that for your life. I don't want that for my life. So anyway, hope all this helps. Hope you're inspired now to go and create your own. Again, if you want to read more about my blog, you can go to www.vivaltalternative.com. You can also click like on this video. Please click on like. And also please share for people you think this message would benefit. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel. So take care, God bless, and peace.